Hi, and welcome to another episode of Can't Stop the Growth. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and today we are going to look at part one of a meeting we did in our Future Leaders series on John Maxwell's Law of Addition. This is one of my favorites, in that I believe this is simply the foundation of leadership, adding value to others and those that we lead. We talk a lot about, in this first part, about addition or subtraction. You're either doing one or the other, and how Maxwell calls us to understand that we are responsible for the people that we lead, who they are going to be, and what they're going to grow into, and we take that responsibility on as leaders. So, without further ado, we'll jump into this audio. Hope you enjoy. It just so happened, as I was kind of preparing my notes this morning, it's weird how things kind of hit you, that happen. Things kind of line up. So for this particular law, which is the law of addition. So Maxwell says that all leaders are called to add value to those that they lead. And we've talked about this before, is that a leader is not there to just manage the people and tell everybody what to do. We say, and I say in every interview, we want to make this the best place you've ever worked. In that is hopefully conveying to a potential member of our team that we want to add value to your life. We want to add value to the place that you call work. And I never really looked at it that way, but after reading this and connecting those two, I think that's exactly what we're trying to do. That's exactly why we have the people on our team that we do, because they look to add value to the lives of others. It's important as we, get into the professional world, the work world. People term it the corporate ladder, or, I want to rise up to this position and through the ranks and then do this and do that and so on and so forth. And it's important to evaluate your motive for leading. Why is it that you want to lead? Is it to tell everybody what to do? Is it to, make more money? Is it to, get to a certain status level? If those are your motives, those are, clear motives, those are human, understandably. But if your motive is not to add value, you're going to struggle as a leader. All of those things that I talked about, more money, a title, climbing the ladder, whatever it may be, those will come in time. But ultimately, those are oftentimes dictated by how much value you add to people's lives. Yes, there are some people that move up that ladder without adding value. However, we often read about them in the news. That often ends very tragically. At some time or another, they will be revealed. Some, it takes longer than others, and usually when it takes longer, their fall is far greater than others. How does adding value look? What does that look like to you? We talked in our leadership meeting on Tuesday of this week that Jack Needham, who we oftentimes refer to, looks at leadership as waking people up. He talks about most people, all people, are floating through a river of the unconscious. You're floating through the river, things are happening, you're reacting, so on and so forth. It isn't until a leader pulls you out of that river up onto a rock, as he describes it, and allows someone to think, adds value to their life so that they too can grow. We have to transform our view of responsibility from manager telling everybody what to do, you broke a rule, I'm here to enforce it, so on and so forth, to how do I add value? One thing that we've all been working on, and I continue to work on, because it takes practice, is asking great questions. Through great questions, you add value to people's lives because you allow them to think rather than telling them what to do. No one's ever had value added to their life by being told what to do. I mean, think about your kids. I haven't experienced this yet because mine doesn't listen to anything that I say currently. However, we're working on it. We're working on following direction right now. Not to climb on things, we tell them what to do, but as they grow older, asking them to think, asking them to what would they do in this situation, or the one that we talked about this week is how would that look different next time? How would that look if we did something different? We're called as leaders to pull that out of people. We're called to make that person who they're supposed to be. Think about it. You are where you are because multiple people in your life helped you at some point or another. You may not have realized it at that point, but we oftentimes look back and understand that, oh, yeah, I'm glad he was there. I'm glad she was there, because I would be in a world of hurt if they weren't. I didn't appreciate it at the time. I didn't know what they were telling me. I tried to avoid what they were telling me. Whatever that may be, the ultimate goal in leadership is to advance others. As we think about it, as we embark on this one-on-one meeting kind of initiative around the company of getting feedback, giving feedback, understanding where people are struggling, understanding where we can help, asking people great questions, allowing them to think rather than telling them what to do, we're creating a relationship. And really, if you think about it, all leadership is a web of relationships. Because as Maxwell said, and as we talked about a couple of times ago, leadership is influence. You have influence when you create a relationship with somebody. Sometimes you got influence when you don't have a relationship with somebody, but they may have a relationship with you. In leadership and in all facets of life, you're either, whether you know it or not, you're either adding or you're subtracting. He points out a statistic that 90% of people that are subtracting do it unintentionally. Think about how you may be subtracting. My biggest fault on this one is when people stop by my office and I'm in the middle of looking at my computer or doing something, I will talk to them while still looking at my computer. To me, that's subtracting. That's a subtracting quality of leadership. And so I've made a real conscious effort to, if someone stops by, stop what I'm doing on my computer. That's very difficult because my computer looks kind of at my door, so it's kind of like right there. It's very tempting. My hands are on it, but I have to remove them from the computer and make eye contact with that person and understand how I can help them in that moment, or answer their question, or ask them a great question. He also says in here, 90% of the people who add to people, who practice that law of addition, do it intentionally. You see, as humans, we're obviously, and we've talked about this, we're naturally selfish. Our brains are wired to keep us safe, to look out for us. We have to be willing to go outside our comfort zone. As many of you know, and as I've said before, I would be super comfortable if I walked into the office, no one saw me, went to my office, shut my door, and worked all day. I'd be super comfortable there. I'm super comfortable in the morning when I'm sitting by myself, reading, writing, doing whatever. Super comfortable there. Actually extremely comfortable there. Couch is comfortable, blanket, wintertime, get the fire going. It's good stuff. But that's not leadership. That's leading no one, actually. I can sit there and read all the books I want, write all the stuff I want down. Think that's a really good idea. But if I don't step outside my comfort zone and work to be a leader, work to add to others, it's going to be a very lonely existence. You have to find those things that make you a little bit uncomfortable. One of those things is asking questions. That makes me a little bit uncomfortable because asking great open-ended questions are sometimes difficult. You think about that young apprentice that's working with you. Instead of telling him what to do you ask him, well, what would you do? If he messes up, what would that look like next time if it actually worked? Asking those questions is going to allow him to learn. Just simply telling him what to do is not going to have a huge impact on him. And what happens there? You aren't able to grow because that apprentice never grows. He just looks for you to follow the leader. We grow by helping others first. We help others, which draws us out of our comfort zone, which ultimately makes us better. We ask good questions. That makes us better at asking great questions. Someone understands that we're allowing them to grow. We have more influence over them. We grow. They tell somebody else, hey, he really helped me out. Hey, he's a really awesome guy. Your influence just grew. You grew. You can be a leader at any level. I was out yesterday and a guy asked me, what are you going to talk about tomorrow? I said, well, I got some good stuff. At the time, I hadn't connected all these dots, which I'll get to as we move forward, and why I'm really excited about this one. But he said, you know what? Listen to some of your stuff made me realize that I'm probably more of a leader than I think. I said, absolutely. You can be a leader at any level because, as I've said many a times, it's just about helping others. If you find yourself helping others a lot, you're probably a heck of a lot more of a leader than you think. The one thing, and I said it earlier, that I take from this is that leadership, when you decide that that is what you want to do, you take on the responsibility of making those that are following you who they are supposed to be. When I read that, it was like a jolt, like, whoa, that's a lot of weight on someone's shoulders. But the cool part about it is allowing somebody, providing a platform for somebody to be who they're supposed to be, is simply offering to help. That's it. You have a choice every day to make those around you, regardless if they in the org chart follow you, you have the choice to be a leader. Everyone does. Doesn't matter what you do. You have the choice to impact someone. I know I probably, more than likely, I'm going to guess, I talk a lot about how the ultimate goal of this place is to, on a big grand scope, is to change the world. And I'm sure I get some, maybe get some eye rolls and like, who does this? Wow. Head in the clouds there, buddy. Good luck. Yeah, why don't you come back down to earth? But as I continue to study leadership and practice and hopefully add value to those around me, that becomes more realistic every day. Because the more people that we help here, the more customers we help out there, it's happening. It's happening right now, which is really cool, which is why I love getting up every morning. We're doing it. You're doing it. Every time you help the guy who's working with you, or help someone in your department, or help someone think a little bit outside the box, you're doing it, because ultimately they're going to go on to help somebody else, and that person's going to help somebody else.